Good morning, students. Today, our Learn from Home topic is Object Oriented Programming Language with the help of C++. Now, before going about C++, we will learn about some concepts, some features of Object Oriented Programming Language. The first thing of Object Oriented Programming Language, that is the concept of class. What is class? Class is basically a blueprint for a data type, and at the same time it is the collections of group of similar objects, and it also binds some describing data describing entity and that associated with some functions. So we all know the concept of data type. So it is a template which contains different types of data types and a group of same kind of objects, those who are containing or having same type of characteristics as well as functions. Here you can see a student class which has some characteristics like its student's name, role, etc. At the same time, if I consider some functions about that particular student class, that is their academics, each and every students of that particular student class will be represented as an object. So individual student of the student class is an object. So that object has particular characteristics and some functions. So the data describing entity that will be the main key part of the function. So the functions will work on those data describing entity. Now, the next concept is object. What is object? We have just learned that a class, that is the template, and the class is containing different types of same kind of objects, right? Different types means different you can create multiple objects, but the object should be same kind of. Here basically an object is a real life entity. Any kind of real life entity is an object which is used to create the instance of class. So object is basically the instance of class, and a particular object is a kind of variable whose data type is a class type. Here you can see a student, here a class I have created. The student is the name of the class, and I have created an object that is obj. Here it is considering as obj variable, but it is a object. It is an object and its data type is student. So class type. So here class will be represented as a data type. So class is also a data type. When I have discussed about the concept of data type in a previous class, I have told you that basically a data type is, if you segregate the division of the data type, there is two types. One is a reference data type and one is your primitive. Class is a reference data type. Why? Because class is a collection of different variables. So object is that kind of variable which is a student type of or class type of data type or variables. Now, the next concept is why we will use the object-oriented language instead of having procedural language, that is C. Basically, some advantages are there in procedural language. Those are, we are not able to represent any kind of real world entity with the help of procedural language, and we are not able to reuse code in procedural language. At the same time, the representation of the data structure or the management of the data structure is much more complex in compared to the object oriented language. So why why object oriented language is there? We can see that object oriented language is such a language which is used to represent any real world entity, as well as we are able to use the code again and again, and the data structure management is much more easier. But how? For that, you should know the features of object-oriented language. The first feature of object-oriented language is abstraction. What is abstraction? Abstraction is the concept where you are able to hide the implementation details of an object. So you will only represent the functionality of the object, but how it is working, you will not reveal that. So in this program, you can see a pow function is mentioned over there. You can see int result equal to pow comma n comma power, where n is the number of that we will calculate the power, and the power is that variable which will provide you the value of the power. So what is the answer? You will get the correct answer, but the procedure, it's not represented, it's not revealed. Only the functions of pow is given, but how the pow function is working internally, it is not revealed to you. So that is why we are able to use we are able to represent real world entity in a safer manner. Next feature is encapsulation. Encapsulation is a concept where you are able to bind the data and the method together in a single unit. You can see two objects are mentioned here, account 1, account 2. Both the objects are containing some data, that is account number, name, balance, and some methods. Those methods will work with the help of this data. So in a single, you will use one thing and you are able to get multiple things from one particular element. That is the concept of the encapsulation. The next concept is inheritance. For this reason, we are able to reuse code. So what is inheritance? Inheritance is the capability of an object to inherit the properties of another object. So one object can use the properties of another object. Example is given here: A, B, C, D, 4 objects are given. B and C, these two objects are children of A object. So B and C can use or can inherit the functions as well as data from their parent object. So you can see some common data as well as methods that is present in B and C is present in A also. D is the child object of B. So D can inherit the value like data and methods from B. For this reason, many objects can be used and the same type of code can be represented with the help of different object, with the help of this property of inheritance. That's why object-oriented programming language can reuse the code. Next, the last features of object-oriented programming language, that is polymorphism. What is polymorphism? Polymorphism is the concept where we can see one function can be used in different ways. If I consider, suppose, mobile phone, we are able to create videos with the help of mobile phone. We can chat, we can play video games. So one thing is we can use one thing in a different purpose. That is the concept of the polymorphism. One example is given where draw is a function. Different objects are triangle, rectangle, circle. They are using this particular function in different way. Triangle will use draw, or triangle will implement draw in particular manner. Rectangle will implement it in a different manner, and circle is also. But the function is the same, but the representation way is different. So that is the concept of polymorphism. So these features help basically these 4 features are the important features of object-oriented language. That's why object-oriented programming language is able to represent the code reusability, can represent real-world entity, and can manage data management as well as the data structures like arrays, linked lists, everything in a proper manner in compared to procedural language. That's all for today. We will discuss the concept of these features with the help of C++ language in the next video. Thank you.